Hello everyone and welcome back, my people. There is fire on the mountain. Like Reno Omokri is really in the hot seat. Yes, so like Nigerians are giving him like woto. Nigerians are reacting like massively since Reno Omokri's name is in the Ambassadorial list. So look at this particular headline today, that there is mounting tension in Nigeria Senate following the nomination of social media commentator and former presidential aide Reno Omokri as an ambassadorial nominee, an appointment that has triggered factional battles and the shutdown of the lawmakers' WhatsApp group. Reno Omokri was among the 32 names forwarded to the Senate for confirmation, but his inclusion has provoked a storm, especially over his past public criticism of Bola Tinubu, including a controversial remark in which he once labeled the president a drug baron. So, according to the news, Akpabio is mobilizing people to oppose Reno Omokri's nominee. Like, they don't want him to be in that list. So, people are saying that it's like Tinubu really want to publicly like humiliate Reno Omokri because of what he said about him in the past. And some people are saying that maybe Tinubu want to use this one to compensate him because he is always, attacking Peter Obi. So let's look at some of the reactions from Nigerians. This person said, "What if Tinubu is playing the same game he played Erufai? Send his name to fulfill all righteousness and ask Senate not to approve his appointment." And Madisha, who said, "It is a deceptive grandstanding. They will still clear him. If you are to be close to them privately, you will come to know how all of them might be calling Tinubu all the bad names and abusing him more than Reno. There is no difference between them and Reno. They can't be standing on that mandate and think they have the moral standard to judge others. There is no difference between them and Reno. They belong to the same league." And this person said he should be considered because of the attack so far on Tinubu's opposition, especially PO. He wakes up with PO and goes to bed with the name in his mouth. His reward is based on his attack on PO's person and nothing more. If he is disqualified, PO wouldn't rest, I beg. And this person said, "Honestly speaking, I don't see the reason why Reno Omokri should be given an ambassadorial position in the first place. If Tinubu deems it fit to give him an appointment, then that means that what he has been saying about Tinubu is true, and Tinubu is trying to use this to bribe him." And this person now posted what Reno Omokri said about Tinubu, and he said, "I challenge official bat. If you were not involved in a hair-running drug ring in the United States in 1991 to 1993, then take me to court. Nigeria cannot have a no-drug law as her president. God forbid. I also challenge Tinubu to take a drug test." And not only this, so Reno Omokri had an interview where he publicly said that he will never work with Tinubu. He will never work in this Tinubu's government. But my people, look at what is happening now. Reno Omokri has already, thanked Tinubu for, giving him this opportunity. One that they say shall never end, honestly. At the end of the day, we know that the Senate, they're going to clear him and they're going to give him the appointment. So all this one they are doing is just abracadabra, right? So my people, let me allow you guys to listen and hear what Arise News is saying concerning this particular news as well. Please do wait to subscribe if you haven't, share the video, give it a like, and also leave your thoughts in the comment section. Through your comments, we all learn as well. And thank you so much for doing so.
Personal reactions trailing President Bola Tinubu's announcement of 32 ambassadorial nominees that sparked controversy over the weekend. The list comprises 15 nominees as career ambassadors and 17 nominees as non-career ambassadors. Well, among the controversial non-career ambassadors designates are Reno Omokri, a former spokesman for Atiku Abubakar, Fani-Kayode, a former aviation minister, and Professor Mahmood Yakubu, former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The new nominees are expected to be posted to countries with which Nigeria maintains excellent strategic bilateral relations. Well, Reno Omokri has already accepted President Tinubu's nomination. In a post on X, Omokri expressed gratitude to President Tinubu, saying that Tinubu has taught him the the virtue of forgiveness. He acknowledged that despite their political differences, Tinubu chose to overlook past criticisms and recognize his capacity to serve Nigeria in a diplomatic role. He described the nomination as a masterclass in leadership, stating that Tinubu's decision demonstrates that politics should not be about permanent enemies, but about national interest. Well, Omochri'S acceptance has generated significant controversy and debate, with critics accusing him of hypocrisy and double standards. Ahead of the 2023 presidential election, Omokri was a vocal critic of Tinubu, referring to him with various derogatory terms while in a 2023 interview, which has resurfaced online with Seun Akimbaloye. Omokri explicitly stated that he would never work with Tinubu because working with him goes against his principles. Let's take a look.
To work with him, would you?
It will never happen.
Okay, which one? Which of the scenarios? Him approaching you or you accepting to work with him?
Oh my gosh, I don't want to betray privilege. Somebody from Bola Tinubu's camp has already reached out to me, and I told the person that, look, it cannot happen. I can't do it. It's just against my principles. I'm not. Some people can do that. It's not in my DNA. I can't do it. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I wish Bola Tinubu well if he eventually is sworn in and then the courts uphold his victory. But I can never work with him.
I can never work with him. Let me take some reactions. This person wrote on X. He can never work with Tinubu. Not maybe. Not let's see. He said never. Today, the same Reno is dancing like someone that just won a visa lottery because he has been nominated as an ambassador. This is why Nigerians don't take these loud online philosophers seriously. Their never has an expiry date. Their principles only work when there is no appointment or money on the table. The moment opportunity shows face, their conscience goes on sabbatical. Reno didn't just U-turn. He did a full spiritual somersault from it's not in my DNA to your excellency, sir. When do I resume? Now, these kind people, they preach integrity for social media. Shame on the pathological liar. Well, the People's Democratic Party has asked President Bola Tinubu to withdraw the list of 23 ambassadorial nominees, describing it as a diplomatic all-time low. In a statement, the PDP said the nomination list represents a mockery of Nigeria's foreign service and an embarrassment to the nation's diplomatic tradition. The opposition party argued that some of the nominees lack the requisite diplomatic experience and competence to represent Nigeria effectively on the global stage. Well, in the same vein, an old video of Fani-Kayode verbally attacking a journalist has resurfaced online following his nomination as Nigeria's ambassador designate. In the 2020 video, Fani-Kayode is seen calling out a Daily Trust journalist or calling him stupid for asking him a question about who was bankrolling his tour of southern Nigeria. Let's take a look.
What type of stupid question is that? Bankrolling who? Do you know who you are talking to? I will not take any questions from this man. What type of insulting question is that? Please don't insult me here. Okay, I don't want to take any questions from this man. Very stupid. I could see from your face before you got here how stupid you are. Don't ever talk to me like that. Who do you think you're talking to? Bankroll who? You have a small mind. Very small mind. Don't judge me by your own standard. Don't ever try that with me again. No. Don't, please. You see me well. Don't ever. All right? I have a short fuse. Okay? Don't.
Well, the incident, which sparked widespread condemnation at the time, has now gone viral again as Nigerians question whether someone with such temperament is fit to represent the country diplomatically. Critics argue that diplomacy requires restraint, respect, and communication skills, qualities that they say Fani-Kayode clearly lacked in his treatment of this particular journalist. Dr. Abati, your
Well, very quickly, I mean, while I don't want to focus on the personalities, earlier on this program, I tried to lay the critical areas of concern to identify them by saying, look, we have 109 missions. Mm-hmm. The president so far has appointed only 35. Now, for us to have a full picture, a comprehensive picture, and to be able to do a detailed assessment of the list, we will need to see, what the figure is finally. And whether or not this should not have been prefaced by a review of the missions. Because at a point in this same country, we could not pay diplomats. We could not provide accommodation. In fact, I recall one mission had electricity and water supply cut off because the Nigerian government could not meet its bills. So it's not as if it's some fancy thing to be an ambassador. The government must be able to provide the dignity that office requires. We also raised a point about temperament, which you are talking about with Ambassador Joe Keshi when we interviewed him. And he was saying that temperament is important. But that what he sees on that list is a collection of the good, the bad, and the ugly. He was very willing to identify the good ones, but in terms of the ugly ones, he just made a general statement about former governors who should not, in fact, be seen in decent company after office, who will now go and become representatives. Now, I think it's also an important point because you may well post some people to some countries and they will go there and carry placards. Depending on where the wind blows, even they may carry placards against Nigeria. Or they will be having a diplomatic function. They can even go there and abuse key officials of the country, which will be a very serious diplomatic issue. Of course, the receiving host country, would have under the Convention on Diplomatic Privileges and Immunities, can declare them persona non grata and expel them. The third point, of course, is that we are all concerned about this list because Nigeria is not very popular in some parts of the world. And we want people who can represent us very well. The ambassador is a representative of the sovereign, of the sovereign state. He's also a personal representative of the president. So the president of Nigeria will say it is his prerogative to choose whoever he wants. And he has those powers under Section 177 of the 1999 Constitution. But we as the people of Nigeria, I think we have every right to say whoever is going to represent us will not be people who will go and organize a riot or go there to carry placards or go there to abuse key officials in the host country and then bring embarrassment to Nigeria. It's still a long process, finally. They say they will go through a security screening. They will go through Senate screening. And then, of course, the Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs will have to write a letter to the host country to get an agreement, which is an agreement by the host country. And the host country can say, we don't want this character. So even if the screening fails here, it may not fail in some other countries. A Fani-Kayode, for example, cannot be sent to Israel or to the United States. Rhetoric, so these are the issues. And up to the end of 2026, these ambassadors may not even be posted. It's a long process.
All right. Speaking about character, Dr. Abati said he did not want to focus on personalities, but that's really what's been making the news on social media. Before I come to you, Ayo, meanwhile, the African Democratic Congress has condemned the nomination of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, as an ambassador designate. In a statement, the ADC described the nomination as inappropriate and insensitive, arguing that Yakubu presided over some of the most controversial elections in Nigeria's history. The party accused the former INEC chairman of overseeing flawed electoral processes that undermined democracy and eroded public trust in the electoral system, adding that rewarding Yakubu with an ambassadorial appointment sends the wrong signal and contradicts calls for accountability in public service. Well, the party has urged the Senate to reject Yakubu's nomination, stating that individuals who failed to deliver credible elections should not be rewarded with prestigious diplomatic positions. And I'll take a reaction, Ayo, before I come to you. Uncle Dips wrote on X, even though he is highly qualified and will likely do a great job, Professor Mahmood Yakubu will be making a grievous mistake if he accepts this ambassadorial nomination after spending 10 years at the helm of INEC, supervising the election that brought the incumbent government to power. It will be highly irregular if he takes a job from the same government if he is bored. There are many universities that would be honored to have him taking a few classes. I mean, these are some of the, pushbacks from those three personalities that I, mentioned earlier in my statement, because obviously it was controversial. I mean, it became controversial over the weekend with many views you've seen from the PDP. We also saw from, Delta State people condemning Reno Omokri, and now, of course, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who, was responsible for bringing in this government to power. Your thoughts?
All right. In fact, maybe some people might say that it's that last statement you made that has earned him this nomination, even though it's arguable that he's the one that brought in this current administration through the election that a number of people argued as to whether or not it was free, fair, and credible, and had one of the highest election petitions before the tribunal during his tenure. And so a number of people criticized that and are saying that perhaps it's too short a time closer to the election and his retirement where he is seen to almost be rewarded for a job well done as INEC chair, even though a number of people disagree with that. Oji, it's not just the three names that are contentious, because the names reflect the fact that people who handled their individual states incompetently, people who had cases with the EFCC for mismanagement of funds, people who do not have experience or expertise in these areas, people who have been known to go on social media to speak in ways that are not honorable by any way or form and are not befitting of the office of an ambassador, people who are known to have, have personal cases, you can say, oh, it's his personal life, but cases of domestic violence, allegations against them. These are the people that are being brought forward as ambassador nominees. And then you ask the question, with the population of 230 million Nigerians, these are the people, 32 of these are the people that the president saw fit to nominate as ambassadors, the chief diplomat in our foreign missions to represent and speak on behalf of the country. You begin to question the thought process of his advisors and the ability of the president to put people into positions. Don't forget that when he was running for election, he had said that one of his key strategies is teamship and his ability to identify talent and put round pegs in round holes. But this is a misfit by a lot of standards, whether through character, through experience. And so people are asking, what is the process by which the president makes his decisions? That's number one. Remember the ministerial nominees as well. There was a lot of noise around that these were mainly political rewards when we needed expertise, particularly at a critical time like this in the nation's history. And so those are some of the things. Again, I hope the president might look into this, withdraw, but then take a critical look at those in his kitchen cabinet who are advising him to make such decisions to cause embarrassment to his government where a lot of people disagree with. Finally, let me say that unfortunately, this news has overshadowed those who actually are on merits. The 15 career ambassadors, we congratulate them. This is the work they have done. They have a lot of experience and they will bring it to bear in their work. So congratulations to all of them. And I'm hoping that this whole hula baloo will not overshadow what should be a glory moment for them based on the hard work they've done so far.
Well said. The story will continue to unfold. I would have loved your comment, but I'm sure that, you have unpacked a lot during the course of during the course of the show. Well, in another development, former President Olusegun Obasanjo's fiery rebuke of the insecurity plaguing Nigeria went viral over the weekend. Speaking at an event, Obasanjo issued a stern warning to President Bola Tinubu, urging him to decisively tackle banditry or risk international intervention. Obasanjo emphasized that the security situation has deteriorated to an unacceptable level, with communities living in fear and farmers unable to access their farmlands. Let's take a look.
We are being killed. We Nigerians, no matter what religion you belong to, No matter where you come from, no matter what profession, we Nigerians are being killed. And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting us. We are part of the world community. If our government cannot do it, we have right to call on the international community to do for us what our government cannot do for us. And for anybody to say because those who are being killed belong to this region, belong to this religion, belong to this tribe, and then others too are being killed, cannot be an acceptable excuse. Before I left government, I know we had capacity to pick up anybody in Nigeria who commits crime anywhere.
Well, the former president's comments come amid escalating attacks by bandits across several states, resulting in killings, kidnappings, and displacement of thousands of Nigerians. Well, in another development, a 2024 interview featuring the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has resurfaced on social media, in which Obasanjo recalls a meeting he had with the controversial Islamic cleric, Sheikh Ahmad Gumi. In the interview, Obasanjo recalls how Gumi met with boys as young as 13 who were completely wrecked by drugs. The former president emphasized that these are children who should be in school, but instead have no employment or a future. Let's take a look.
The first thing he said to me is that, look, where those boys are, they fortify themselves. And if any security man says it's there or going there, it's lying to you. That's number one. Number two, he said what made him weak was boys of 13, 14, 15 years. They are soaked in drug and carry on. They are correct. Now, that's warriors. 20 million children that should be in school that are not in school. Those that have no employment, no job, and they see you in obscene affluence. What do you expect them to do?
Well, this interview explored the former president's insight on how to end bad governance in Nigeria and his alternative approaches to leadership. Online, people have wondered what this excerpt symbolizes, that one man can visit the terrorists where they are, but the Nigerian military hasn't done so in an impactful way. I mean, we did discuss this, I believe, last week in detail, even how, Sheikh Ahmad Gumi is able to meet with the bandits, negotiate on behalf of the federal government as well. But also the first story I took about, Olusegun Obasanjo criticizing the Tinubu administration went viral over the weekend. But the presidency has responded, saying that he lacks the capacity or the ability to criticize the Tinubu administration. And they said terrorism took root on your watch. And, this is what, they claim at this point. Your thoughts?
This is, Oji, it's a very complex issue, especially when you look at sort of the historical moving pieces around it, because we can play the blame game for as long as we want. Because if we are to trace it back in history and we ask ourselves, what is the exact moment that we got to where we are, I think it's quite a fluid timeline. But having said that, from 1999, which is the beginning of the current democratic dispensation, we would have wanted to see change, and we thought certain things would be addressed. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that if you look at it historically and you see, the oil boom in the 70s, what really, for me, what I think is a turnaround point was the structural adjustment program in 1986, where suddenly people became economically disenfranchised. So what happens when you become economically disempowered? And the state takes away welfare. The government stops spending on the people. So suddenly everybody was exposed. And since then, we've seen less and less government assistance in the people's lives. People are asking, what does the government do for us? And that inadvertently will cause the rise of all of these malaises that we see now, whether it be insecurity, whether it be the young men they're referring to that are wrecked with drugs and so forth. You've left them vulnerable to that because you've removed the social security net that was supposed to capture them and that was supposed to ensure that, we have a functional state. So, the blame game, he can say that, Tinubu should do this, you risk international intervention and so forth. No, that is incorrect. I think intervention is the wrong word and the wrong body language for us to take in this moment. We've already gone beyond that. We've already gone the path of diplomatic engagement. We've gone the path of creating a joint working group that is supposed to collaborate, and we're supposed to get assistance with intelligence and so forth. And I think most well-meaning Nigerians have accepted the fact and embraced the fact that these solutions can only be Nigerian-led. Even if there is collaboration and the Americans bring their technology and so forth, how long is it going to stay here? How sustainable is it? Unless we are able to do something for ourselves that doesn't just do a fire brigade approach to the current crisis, but that we know in 10, 20 years will be sustainable. So, of course, there's the use of intelligence and military strategy. But then I still go back to the point of social security net. Let people feel that Nigeria looks after them and that there's hope and opportunity for them in Nigeria. And a lot of these things will resolve themselves naturally.
All right, Dr. Abati, I'd like your thoughts on President Olusegun Obasanjo. No, before you do that, in regards to the presidency's criticism, saying that he lacks the credibility to criticize the Tinubu administration. But before you comment on that, I'd like to take this. Well, a wave of abductions in Nigeria was heightened or highlighted by two separate high-profile incidents over the weekend in the village of Chako in Sokoto State. Terrorists conducted an overnight raid, kidnapping 13 women, including a bride and 10 bridesmaids, and an infant simultaneously in Kogi State. Gunmen attacked a newly established Cherubim and Seraphim church in Ejiba during an early Sunday service, abducting the pastor, his wife, and several other congregants, prompting worshippers to flee.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Èmi kàn hide mi o. Inú church tán ti gbéyàn ní Ejiba yẹn nílé. Bàbá Orlando, that is bàbá tó ní tó jẹ́ head of this church. Bàbá yẹn náà gbé lọ. Àwọn èèyàn wà ní church. Wọ́n ti pa speaker, wọn pa anything. Ó dà pé ibi tán gbà jáde ni. Ó ti rí àwọn èèyàn. Ẹ ti rí nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Àfi k'Ọlọ́run gbà wá ni o.
Well, both attacks underscore the worsening security crisis in Nigeria. And we're also learning that a truck transporting building materials crushed 4 school children and injured several others in Igalamela, Odolu local government area on Monday in Kogi State. The incident happened around 8:30 a.m. with residents saying that because the school doesn't have a functional school is not a functional school, students have to trek through dangerous roads to access class in neighboring villages.
So we are calling on our Excellency Alhaji Usman Ododo to help us and build our own school, our own secondary school in Egboloye. We are tired of this thing. You hear me? We are begging them. People where we are begging them. Come and build our own school. We many for Egboloye. We many.
All right, Dr. Abati, we're seeing not just, the banditry, we're seeing insecurity because of lack of infrastructure. 4 of our children dead because they trek home. May their souls rest in peace.
All these stories, whether it's from Sokoto or from Kebbi or from Kogi State or from anywhere else, we seem to reinforce the established narrative that insecurity is a major threat to progress and development in Nigeria. And we keep having these episodes, even an escalation, in recent times, attacks here and there, both on Muslims and also Christians, because I keep making the point that we are all victims.
Yes.
And this was the main point of the editorial in the Financial Times, that all Nigerians are in trouble with regard to security. And it's because, they argue, successive governments have failed in many regards. But to go quickly to the point you raised about what President Obasanjo said, the substance of it is one. President Obasanjo was speaking at the Carol Service Christmas Praise Festival in Jos. Yeah. And he made a point there that, look, this problem that we have in the country, if government cannot solve the problem, there's nothing wrong in asking for help from the international community. And the logic behind it is that terrorism, banditry, insurgency, these are cross-border global issues, that we're dealing with in this particular regard. Now, the second point was the point he made in the interview about his encounter with Sheikh Gumi.
Yes.
Now, President Obasanjo was in office 1999 to 2007. He spent 2 terms in office. Now, during that period, the Boko Haram issue had not become such a big problem. And now, with the benefit of hindsight in that interview, he was saying that, look, during his time, he was able to use technology and move very fast to suppress it.
Which is what we need now.
But over the years, the things got worse. And he was recommending that, look, now you have drones. You can use technology.
Yes.
And you just have to find the political will, and you can do it.
Right.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that recommendation. After all, we just had a professor of the Internet of Things, Professor Iwendi. And he was supporting what President Obasanjo has said. This idea that if anybody makes any suggestion, the best thing is to attack the person and abuse the person. And Sunday Dare, who is himself a journalist, will say, it's an irony that his President Obasanjo is making recommendations. After all, he took root under his watch. But President Obasanjo's point is that he used technology to check it. And we're in the age of AI. You can even do better with technology. That seems logical enough.
I agree with you. And also speaking about technology, the Nigerian army has recently demonstrated significant success in its operations across Borno State by rescuing 12 teenage girls aged 15 to 20 who were abducted by Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists while harvesting crops in the Musa district of Askira Uba local government area following a swift intelligence-led operation. In a separate action, troops of the 28th Task Force Brigade successfully thwarted a planned midnight attack on Chibok communities by over 300 terrorists over the weekend, defeating the multi-front assault through a combination of swift intelligence, tactical maneuver, and superior firepower during a fierce firefight that lasted over 2 hours, preventing the terrorists from breaching the security of their adjoining towns. Well, we commend the military here. Both operations underscore their combat readiness and commitment to securing Borno State. Well, the Nigerian army say that the 12 rescued girls are receiving medical and psychological support before being reunited with their family. Good news. Finally, some good news. We're getting more of these good news and rescue efforts by our Nigerian military. Kudos to the Nigerian Armed Forces.
Welcome to Jammercy News TV.